That's sourdough Sam.
No, Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Disrespect to Sourdeath Sam will not continue.
Yes, sir.
What's up, y'all? How's it going? Sourdeath Sam here, host of 49ers Public Access with Sourdeath Sam. We welcome everyone, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. Welcome you all. I would like to apologize for the last episode. For those of you who were watching on YouTube, you were treated to a painfully obnoxious echo during the interview segment with my guest. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, you did not receive an episode because I did not want you to have to go through that. But it was a wonderful conversation with Brian Peacock, which all culminated into a terrible outcome on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, our first loss of the season came at the hands of Sam Darnold. Yes, Sam Darnold, former backup quarterback for the 49ers, looked heroic against our supposedly gnarly defense. Let me turn off these notifications. We don't need that in our lives. We need time to focus. And so do the 49ers, because losing 17-23 to the Vikings didn't quite sit well in the stomach. Every season has its litany of trap games that are waiting to get you. Did not expect it to come against the Vikings in this situation. Obviously, things are a little more complicated with the loss of Christian McCaffrey as he deals with his issue. But with the performance of Jordan Mason last week, we figured that wasn't going to be a problem. And we figured that Brandon Ayuk, our $30 million wide receiver, was going to be back up to speed in a way that we needed him. And certainly we hoped that we would have all of our star players for the whole game. And obviously the ball didn't really bounce our way that day. Now, it wasn't a complete blowout. There were some highlights, which I will get into. A particular player, in my opinion, is beginning to show tremendous performance on the field. So there is enough to reconcile that the loss might just very well be one of those losses that annoys us and that we get past. I was at the Minneapolis game last year, and it also felt like a weird game. It is what it is. I think we reckon with the fact that Minneapolis is the upside down world for the San Francisco 49ers, and we must vow to never go back there again.
Yes, sir.
Can't have it. But you know, we got amazing things coming up. We got a whole show, echo free. That's right, echo free show, if I have anything to say about it. With a very special guest, one of the OGs of the show, Ryan Hensley. But you know who else is an OG? Is an old friend of mine. You might know him. Spent a couple of Bitcoin to acquire him. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kyle 5000. Kyle, what's going on, buddy? Just want to check in with you after your first loss. Obviously, to Sam Darnold, not ideal. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts. See what's on your mind, buddy.
Yeah. No shit, it was sour. We got outplayed and outcoached. Plain and simple. Defense didn't show up, and the offense was flat. Losing Debo just puts a cherry on top of this crap Sunday. So yeah, I'm just peachy right now.
I got Ryan Hensley coming on the show. If that makes you feel better, is there anything you'd like to say to him before we get the show started?
Tell Hensley to buckle up because it's not going to be a lighthearted chat. If he's got any brilliant ideas on how we could have stopped a damn journeyman quarterback, I'm all ears. And if he's going to sugarcoat it, he can take that somewhere else. We're here to talk about what went wrong, not hold hands and sing kumbaya. That's it. I'm out.
All right, bro. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle 5000.
Yes, sir.
He's in a shitty mood, but when is he not in a shitty mood? You know what I mean? But you know what gets me in a good mood is talking about a fucking dog. A fucking dog. Someone we know showed up to do the damn thing. Let's go ahead and talk about our dog of the day.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
Hold on. I'm back. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our dog of the day, Fred Warner. Fred Warner. Fred Warner.
Yes, sir.
We have known Fred Warner as an all-pro. We have known Fred Warner as a pro bowler. And now people are beginning to say, is this guy a Hall of Famer? It's game 2. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I'm focused on the dog of the day. And the dog of that day, no question, was Fred Warner. 9 tackles. He got a sack, tackle for a loss, 2 pass deflections, quarterback hit, forced fumble, and an interception. He's doing like 3 people's jobs out there. And it's making a huge difference. I can't even imagine how much scarier some of these results could have been had he not been on the field. I think we need to start recognizing Fred Warner as a very important ingredient to this defense. I think we already do, but I think we need to recognize that he is such a center of gravity that we cannot afford to take for granted and, God forbid, have anything happen to. He's a dog. Absolute dog. So if you want to know who my dog of the day is, no doubt it was motherfucking Fred Warner. Fred Warner.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
Gotta love that intro. All right, we got some comments. Let's see what people are saying. Who let the dogs out? Says Wellness Cottage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The 49ers did. His name's Fred Warner. Let's go 49ers. Or let's go Niners, says Frazil Urshad. I hope I said your name right. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate everyone who is watching. And Fazil also said that Fred Warner is for sure a Hall of Famer, consistent since he was drafted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, he was. And he is. He is a consistently high-performing linebacker that I have a feeling 49ers fans will be talking about for a long time. That 49ers fans' children will be watching the 49ers a decade or two from now, and they'll see Fred Warner on the field as an OG, and they'll say, who's that guy? They'll look up his highlights on YouTube, and they'll be like, damn, he was a dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But you know who's also consistent? Well, first of all, in case you're here for Ryan Hensley, he's going to be on very, very, very shortly. Audience loves Ryan. He's been a friend of the show for a very long time. If I recall correctly, he actually, I think, was on the first episode ever of this show, which is incredible. He actually trusted me not to ruin his reputation. So that takes a lot of balls, honestly. It takes a lot of balls. But you know who's consistent? Is me. I'm consistent at losing parlays. Sourdeath Sam's $5 pick'em. That's right. $5 to win over 1,000. So many players on here. It's bound to bust. It's bound to break. But you know what? We do it for the love of the game. and it's only $5. So I don't have to spend that much every month to do this bit. I've got CeeDee Lamb getting over 0.5 yards. That's right. It's a gimme pick. And you know what? I've been not naming this company. Whatever. It's Underdog. Underdog's got some pretty good stuff. They don't pay me to do this. I wish they would. But bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. You can give this a shot yourself. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. I have got to be more, no one has like penalized me for this, but I just got to be more responsible about how I talk about betting. I'm a little loosey-goosey, but don't bet more than you can afford to lose. Anyways, Brock Bowers, I got him getting a touchdown. Marvin Harrison, I got him getting a rushing or receiving touchdown, whatever he feels like doing that day. Jordan Mason, also got him getting a touchdown. Same with Saquon, same with Rashid Shaheed, same with Quentin Johnson, and same with Anthony Richardson.
Yes, sir.
So if you want in on this action, if you want to be a top dog, if you want to know what it feels like to be alive, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Put your money where your mouth is. If you sign up with my code, first deposit matched in bonus cash up to $2,000. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. All right, guys, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. All right, enough. We got bigger fish to fry, all right? Aside from my $5 parlays that never hit. We're here to bring on very old friend of the show, my man, the legend, Ryan G. Hensley. What's up, big dog? How you doing?
I'm good, man. My Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fiing, but I'm
that's
still out
cool.
here shaking hands and kissing babies. I apologize if my internet is it goes bad on you, but
No,
you deserve better.
You know what I appreciate is in chat, please let me know in the comments. I think we're sounding good. I think there's no echo. I think we're clean feed right now, which means I can smooth sail for the rest of this episode. The last episode, I was like having a mid-show panic attack because I knew that nothing was getting captured the way it needed to, and I just had to just grind my audience through it. But not today. We got your fan club in the house. Fazil says, "Let's go, Ryan."
I love Fazil. He's awesome.
He's a nice guy, man. He's been contributing already. I hope he's subscribed. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm down bad. I love friends. Please subscribe.
Everyone subscribe to Sam for sure.
Appreciate that. Actually, I actually have a little plug. I keep forgetting I have this. Guys, look at this face. Subscribe. It's me. Be nice. All right, we're back. My man, how you doing? It's our first show together during the season. I believe you were on the first episode ever. Can you hear me?
Am I by myself? There you are.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. Did you get scared?
Was it me that left? I told you my Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fi.
No, that's cool. I see you got like 2 bars here. But yeah, I believe you were on the first episode we ever did. Is that correct?
Yeah. I helped start off this amazing show of yours, and I think you owe everything to me.
I do. I tell my therapist that all the time, and I'm glad you agree. It means a lot. Well, listen, obviously bad news for 49ers fans this past Sunday because we got skull fucked. You like that? I was debating whether or not to do that one, but you know what I said? You know what? This is fucking public access. No one gives a shit. No one watches the show. So 17-23 loss. Obviously, Purdy, people are hating on Purdy. I don't think he had that bad of a game. Obviously, the pick doesn't sit well, but almost 80% completion percentage. I think really the name of the game is we just felt not like ourselves. We didn't look like ourselves. Jordan Mason barely getting 100 yards. Obviously we had Debo getting hurt. Ayuk still kind of slumpy. What were your impressions of that game?
Actually, it's the same thing we've seen from this coordinator versus Kyle Shanahan. 17 points with CMC last year, 17 points without CMC this year. It's a combination. I don't know who's to blame. Maybe it's 50-50, but between Brock and Kyle Shanahan dealing with this type of defense. You saw it against the Ravens. You saw it against the Chiefs. You saw it against the Browns. Similar type of defensive game plans. really threw off the 49ers and their ability to score touchdowns. So I don't know why that is the case. I don't know if that's a Kyle thing. I'm not sure if that's Brock, because he did miss some open checkdowns. I don't know if it's my fault for calling him dink and dunk and he just doesn't want to dink anymore. I don't know what it is, but there were some wide open short dump offs that he just didn't take. So very unusual, man. Kind of a downer. I was hesitant about the season coming into it. And after the first game, I was riding kind of high, starting to believe again. And then they lose to the Vikings, kind of brought me down to earth. So that's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, and I feel like this isn't the first time there's kind of been an early game in the 49ers season that sort of sucked all the momentum out of the room. I don't think – I certainly am not hitting a panic button whatsoever. I think in the context of the Vikings, I think they got us on their scheme. And I think the thing that hurt the most was obviously Justin Jefferson taking the lid off our defense on that 97-yard touchdown, which makes me curious to see how Hufanga is going to do when he comes back, because I think our safety play is maybe leaving a little bit to be desired, to put it one way.
Can I pause you?
Yeah.
By the way, amazing beard. I just want to point that out.
Hey,
and also, you can't blame Odom for getting burnt by Justin Jefferson. He should never have been on him. That was that was the mistake of the defensive coordinator. And I don't think Odom is some tremendous safety. I was glad to see Malik go in. Malik is one of my favorite rookies on the 49ers. A guy I wanted, a guy they drafted, a guy I'm still excited to see. It's good Huff's coming back, but that play is on the defensive coordinator. It drives me crazy. Not that the safety play has been great.
Yeah, when I was listening to Jair Brown's sort of response to that particular play, I think what happened is they got tangled up in scheme effectively, and they just got burned. Justin Jefferson is quite the player by himself, scheme or no scheme. So I think effectively he just got twisted up, and then we ended up with the result that we got. Clearly, Sam Darnold, good for him. Whatever, happy he's okay. But it's a disappointing result when it's at the expense of our defense. The one thing I will say is it would be really, really appreciated to see Ayuk kind of snap out of the slump that I think a lot of us sort of anticipated he was going to be in. But I think now more than ever, especially on the heels of a Deebo Samuel calf injury, which appears to have him out for a minute, but clearly we're going to need Ayuk to step up, and that's something we're going to talk about in a minute, is sort of where the 49ers go in his absence. But that is one thing from the game that was kind of frustrating, was to see our $30 million receiver sort of being a little bit invisible there.
Yeah. I think BA, we know what BA is capable of, and it's just a matter of time before he gets back to his old self. He caught 4 out of 5 targets. He was open a couple times. Brock didn't see him. I still don't think he's himself. He's not quite running as fast, as quick in his routes. But he didn't. I don't think he was as bad as a lot of people thought in that game. He wasn't targeted. Now, that being said, he wasn't himself either. And like you said, man, there's no choice but to go to Brandon Ayuk more in this coming game. So I think I'm not really worried about Brandon Ayuk, man. He's going to do what he does, and he's never had problems getting open before. And as soon as he gets back into football shape, he's going to be fine.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and make this transition. Feels like the perfect time. Deebo down. How are the 49ers going to adjust to the absence of a Deebo Samuel performance?
Man, I honestly, we're on public access, right? This is no holds barred here, right? This is everything on the table.
Literally, you can say anything except for like threats to the country.
Okay, I will not say any threats.
Yeah, just don't get me arrested. Really, that's my only prerequisite.
Okay, so I'm lightweight. It's a blessing. I don't wish anyone injury, and I don't want him to be injured. I want him to be healthy, but I'm lightweight excited about this no Deebo offense, no CMC offense, because for a couple reasons. I want to see what Brock can do. And there's this whole thing like Brock's going to be tested more than ever now that blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in that because it's the Rams. They're like the second worst defense in the NFL after 2 games. They're a hospital. Everyone's beat up. So I'm not worried. I don't think Brock's going to prove it unless they lose. That says something. But even if he wins, it's expected, right?
True.
I don't think we need CMC for that. I want to see Kyle and Brock without those guys. If you look at this last game, Debo was targeted heavily, and he had 0 separation at time of target. One thing I learned this week, I want to share this with you, Sam, because I learned this week. The separation numbers that we see for these receivers, that's only when targeted. So the statistics that we put out, I put it out on Monday because I just thought it was separation general through every route. Now, I know they have those separately, but the ones that people put out are just when they are targeted. And if you notice, Debo has 0 yards of separation when targeted by Brock Purdy. And we know he's a fantastic weapon when the ball's in his hands. He's one of the best in the NFL. But he's not known for getting open. And I feel like there's this thing, and you see it a lot in sports and dynamics with a young player who kind of looks up and idolizes these older guys, meaning Brock Purdy, looking up to CMC. He's going to hit CMC on the dump offs because he's probably thinking, emergency CMC, that's the guy. That's the best running back in the league right there. He's gone. So who's the next guy? Who's the guy who's been working with all offseason? What's his focus? It's Debo Samuel. And Debo had 0 separation when he was targeted. You see a lot of those throws at Debo. There's nothing available. I want to see what it looks like when Debo's not an option. Now he's probably going to focus more on Brandon Ayuk. But what I really want to see Brock do, and Kyle allow him to do, is to just read the defense, read who's open, and pass to whoever you want instead of focusing in on a guy. And I think without Debo, that gives him a greater chance to do that.
Yeah, no, I think you make a compelling case here of, hey, obviously these are circumstances one doesn't wish for, but now that the opportunity has presented itself, how will this unravel? Like, in what ways will we see this offense mold and adapt? Because it's no secret that there is a reality that no matter how this year turns out, Debo may not be on the team. There's even a semblance of a reality that there's a universe where he may not be on the team at some point before the trade deadline. I think at this point, the consensus is if the team is winning, they won't factor that in. But it remains to be said that Debo is a piece that they are deeply considering potentially moving on. So what does the offense look like without him? On one hand, you can make that case of, well, how do we deploy the other weapons? What can we get out of our rookies? Obviously, what can we extract from an Ayuk-led wide receiver room without sort of Debo in the shadows? But, one thing I will say is that I think that it's going to be, as far as the context of this season, how it's begun at least, it's going to be a challenge to sort of fill that void perhaps as effectively and as immediately as we may want. I mean, obviously, he is the leading receiver in San Francisco, but he's the 10th. He's also the 10th leading receiver in the league. So you take that off the board. Our second leading receiver right now, I believe, is George Kittle. And so not only that, we have Christian McCaffrey, who's not on the field. And guess who's been stepping up to effectively be CMC plan B when it comes to the backfield? It's Debo. Okay, so now you take that out of the picture. I don't have any reservations that Kyle Shanahan is going to throw up his hands and say, I'm stumped. There's no way that I can game plan around this. That's just not him. There are too many weapons around him. I believe Jawan Jennings is a very capable receiver who could surprise people if they're too keyed in on Ayuk. And I'm kind of curious to see what they've got in Jacob Cowing if they do feel compelled to let him ride. But I will say that I think that it's yet another dynamic weapon. And we talk about separation. I think the consensus amongst those who are watching the 49ers closely is that if we had to pick a pure route runner, it would be Ayuk over Debo, no question. But I think that there is a certain dynamic element that Debo has consistently added to the offense that will be missed, and that there will be a vacancy in that department, that we are running out of people that can fill that specific Swiss Army knife role seamlessly.
Here's the thing. Debo Samuel is the yak guy. There's not many people better at it than him in the NFL. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, you left a name out of a guy who actually runs routes better and has better hands. And his name is Chris Conley. Yes, I said that. Chris Conley runs better routes and has better hands than Debo Samuel. So I'm intrigued to see this play out, because with Chris Conley on the field versus Debo, I know I'm going to get killed for this, but I really feel this way. He is a better route runner. He has better hands than Debo Samuel. He's nowhere near as good as Debo when the ball is in his hands, but he really is. So when you have a Brandon Ayuk, hopefully he's back a week. A week has gone by and he's better and back to himself. And then you got Chris Conley, who I believe is a better route runner and better hands than Debo Samuel. And you got Juwan Jennings, and we know what he can do. And you got Jordan Mason, who's second leading rusher in the NFL. If you just run the ball against this Rams team, you're going to kick their ass, and these other guys are going to get open. And I'm hoping Brock Purdy's not dialing and focusing in on one particular receiver, and he's got a plethora of options. And don't forget our man George Kittle.
Mm-hmm. And we'll sort of get into what we're anticipating with this Rams matchup, but I'm absolutely loving where your head is at. I completely agree. And as does Cynthia. I don't know if she's a friend of your show, a friend of our show, but she's a friend of our shows. And she says, yes. I agree, Ryan. She agrees. And
shout out to Cynthia.
I think Conley is a very important name to bring to the table because he was looking good. I agree. I think he and Cowing bring something different when they're on the field. But I'm actually kind of curious, do they toy around and sort of bring in one or the other for specific plays, specific purposes? But Conley, I think, is a very, very, very solid wide receiver to potentially be thrown into the ring here. No question. We got Clean Industry saying Debo averaging 4 yak yards in 2024. And we got Leon Sandcastle saying, by the way, he's a better blocker than Debo too.
Can you remind me where Leon Sandcastle was from? That's from something of my childhood, and I can't.
I think that was a Deion Sanders commercial.
Yes. Okay.
Leon, drop that in the comments if I'm right.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that was like a Deion Sanders character that he played.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I feel like I've been a Debo truther in a way that a lot of my compatriots, who I believe are sort of way, 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 way more steeped into the nuance in ways that I still am looking to ascend to, they are much more compelled to identify Debo as a more expendable asset. Mm-hmm. So one would not be in small company to have that thought. There are peers who similarly are curious to just sort of demonstrate, hey, this offense can exist without Debo. I am of the camp of having too many memories as someone who has watched the game with softer eyes, perhaps, of Debo doing things I have not seen other players do.
You do have very soft eyes, by the way.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We've been 8 and 9 in games without Debo, which 5 of them were with Purdy. That record was 3 wins, 2 losses. So it's about 50-50 any way you shake it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The circumstances of those games always vary. So the numbers kind of suggest, hey, it's not, you're not 0-17 without him.
Right.
But there's just, I have seen him win games with just the way he plays the game. And to me, that will be a component that other players can supplement in certain categories. Some players might be able to run better routes. Some players might be able to block better. But there is a certain je ne sais quoi that Debo brings that in my mind will be hard to replace. So perhaps it's not a quantifiable analysis. Perhaps it's even a bit esoteric. But I do believe that we may feel the absence of Debo in many ways. The question is are there ways that we can plug in some of those gaps with enough talent in the wings for us to be able to compensate and work around that.
I hear your point, man, and I don't disagree. And also, you're rivaling the coach for a great vocabulary, by the way.
Thank you. You're being so nice to me.
I'm a nice guy.
I appreciate that. We got Raymond Martinez Jr. saying the problem is Kyle has spent probably most of the offseason focusing the offense around Debo because he was the healthy, in-shape player available. It's time to pivot, and that's what we'll see. That is a very good point. He was the only receiver we knew for sure was going to be on the team. And I think for a while there was a bit of a convincing tide afloat that perhaps we're not going to have Ayuk at all. This feels like the 2019 Warriors. Perhaps it does. Perhaps it does.
Wait a minute. But the 2019 Warriors already had won a championship.
That's true. So we would be not even sniffing in that category.
Yeah, we're more like the Oklahoma Thunder.
You know what? To that point, and then we'll go to the next topic, which, again, got these segues that are just butter smooth today.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we are so hell bent on keeping the band together.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we're so hell bent on recapturing the glory that, frankly, I think they and perhaps the fans believe we're entitled to. That we may not be ready for a reality where the ball doesn't bounce our way anymore and the curtain closes, and we may have to really, really start hitting in drafts in the way that we have not had to in past years just to be able to survive and get back to the apex of the football arena. I'm just saying, I'm not going to say that this isn't our year. I'm just saying it feels a little, a lot of things have to go right.
In the words of Deebo Samuel himself, it's now or never.
Absolutely. God, and watch this segue. We the best? Yes. That's what Deebo Samuel thinks. And that's the third topic of the night. Let us take a listen to what Deebo had to say on his show, Cleats and Convos with Deebo Samuel, produced by Bleacher Report.
I know the best team in the NFL for the past going on 6 years.
Yeah.
And so, like, we always there. Like, we got to get it done.
You know, well, first of all, let me get your thoughts. When you saw that, likely on Twitter first, unless you're a Cleats and Convos stan, waiting for that video to drop. Tell me, what was kind of your first gut instinct? Like, how did you respond to that clip?
So I do see a lot of people making a big deal out of this, and I understand it, why they're making a big deal out of it. But I think really what the problem is that Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are not as eloquently spoken as Sourdeath Sam. And what I mean by that is I think his intentions were just fine with what he was saying. He was saying, basically, I feel like we're the best team, and then he talked about it later. We haven't won a Super Bowl, right? I don't have a problem with it like a lot of people do. I know a lot of people are like, you can't think you're the best team because you didn't win the Super Bowl. I get it, but I want my team to think they're the best. But I also want them to understand that, you can't say that you're the best, right? So what I would have preferred him to say is, I feel like we have the most talented roster, but obviously the Chiefs beat us in the Super Bowl, so they're the best team, but we're on a mission to become that. Something like that. But I think that's what he meant to say. He just didn't say those words.
I am completely on the same page. I think.
Yes. Hit a siren or something.
Oh, I got you, bro.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, sir.
I think a lot of people. First of all, I think what I will say, perhaps to the credit of anyone who did take issue with it, is I feel like it feels like more. It appears to look like more of a bravado, stark statement when written versus when you actually hear the way he spoke it.
Yeah.
In my eyes, they have probably thought this and said this out loud on all the years that they did get to the Super Bowl. And that to be honest with you, the reason why he shows up to fucking training camp looking like he's in amazing shape is because he believes that they are the best team in the NFL. If he thought that they were some crumb bums who were maybe going to be a wild card team, perhaps that motivation to not work as hard, to do all of the right things when it comes to nutrition, to discipline, to etc. Maybe these things would not feel as much as a priority. But I didn't take issue with what he said. I think that I think people on the Lions would probably say, dog, we're the best team in the league. Like but this happened and this happened. And right. You might have a myriad of the Cowboys, right? You're like, oh, look at our roster. We're incredible. We got legends on this team. This happened and this happened. Yeah, it's fucking NFL football. This happens and this happens all the time. That's what makes watching the games on Sunday fun, is because your team could be 0-10 going up against a team that may be one game away from locking their playoff seed, and your team could win because this happened and this happened. Right. So I don't fault Debo for saying that. I don't fault Ayuk for kind of being in agreement with him. I think that's probably also why Ayuk wanted to come back. I mean, he sort of listed a couple of reasons, but I'm sure he knew this team is good. This team, I think, is one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. So I didn't take issue with it. And I'm not mad that people sort of qualify it by saying, well, on paper, you are not the best team because you didn't win the Super Bowl. I get it. Obviously, that would be the frustrated fan response to seeing that in a tweet. But at the same time, I think it's that level of confidence. I think it's that level of connection and identity of greatness that not only galvanizes them together into being a good unit. Obviously, it's hard to say all this right after a Vikings loss, but wait till after the season, you might see what I mean. Not only do I think it galvanizes them together, but I think when they bring in free agents, which we've seen in the past, the free agents come in and go, this environment is like a winning environment. And part of that stems from that confidence, from that belief that you are that fucking dude.
You have to. It's sports. Like, I coached basketball for 10 years, high school basketball. And if one of my teams was ever like, oh, they're better than us, we're not the best, they're better than us, before they played a team, I'd be like, you're not playing. You need to believe in yourself and think you're the best. And now maybe you don't say it on a show in that way. Maybe what you say is, we think we're the best team in the NFL, and we think we have been, but we haven't put it all together. So therefore the Chiefs right now are the best team. They won the Super Bowl. That's what you say, but you have to believe that you're one of the best teams. You're in sports. If you don't believe that on this team, I don't know. I think that's more of a problem. If you would have said, no, we're not the best, like that would have bugged me more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's episode 1 of his podcast. I think he will acclimate to the reality that he may need to expand upon his points, but he also might not give a fuck. And I honestly don't really give a fuck. I didn't take any issue with what he said. I think if he had come out and been like, oh, well, the refs were cheating and this and that, I would have been like, all right, now you sound like kind of a poor loser, right? But
here's the other thing, man. Another example, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure you don't have the clip dialed up, but they asked, are you still hungry at this point? And he said, at this point, I'm full. I'm just trying to clear the plate. Like, that's probably not the best way to say that, but I understood what he meant to say. You know what I'm saying?
I think he thought he had like a good one-liner, and it maybe didn't, hit the way he wanted it to hit. Yeah. Wellness Cottage, don't underestimate Netflix receiver. He had the NFL camera showed to his audiences all season, which then he follows up by saying that might have fed his ego without the Super Bowl payoff. Possibly. I mean, that show certainly. I have to imagine they agreed to that show thinking this is gonna. All these cameras are gonna show me winning the Super Bowl, which I'm sure made it hurt that much more. Yeah. Frankly, I'm sure they probably, as soon as the Super Bowl was over, they were probably like, "Fuck, man, I'm immortalized as a loser on this show." It probably eats them alive. because it already hurts enough to be on national television doing that, and then to have a follow up on Netflix. I'm gonna be honest, brother. I have not watched that show because it stung too bad for me. I didn't watch episode 1. I didn't watch the last episode.
It's a good show, dude. And
I know,
honestly,
I'll get there.
one thing I learned about that from that show is, even though I talked about Debo and wanting to see the offense without him, his leadership is actually way better than I anticipated after watching that show. You realize how important he is from a leadership standpoint, which something I didn't realize before. Also, you kind of, I hate to say it, but kind of fall in love a little bit with George Kittle, man. He,
Of course,
really cool dude. So it's a good show, man. I would definitely check it out. But like, there's all these extremes in sports that I think is worth mentioning also, though, right? Like, the 49ers could have won that game. A thing or two, one way or the other. It went to overtime, and Kyle Shanahan made the wrong call with the overtime rules. But I just noticed it's like with sports in general, like a basketball game could be 101 to 100, and the team that won with 101 is the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. The team with 100 is trash because they lost, right? So it's kind of how sports is. Not that I'm saying the Niners are better than the Chiefs. They're not until proven. But they are a really, really good team, and I like that they think they're the best.
I agree, and I think you're right. I think if you're not the Super Bowl Chiefs, then your team is trash, absolute nonsense. I think the Lions are a wonderful team. They didn't make it to the NFC Championship. I think they were, obviously they took a loss. I believe that there are a handful of very, very good teams that could unseat anybody on any given Sunday.
Dude, that Lions game, I mean, if Dan Campbell runs the ball, runs the clock out, if Brandon Ayuk doesn't catch a miracle pass, they win. I mean, that's how close it is between these teams. So, yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. That close. And it happens almost, I'd say one out of every 3 or 4 Super Bowls, there is that one play that may have changed everything. Obviously, Marshawn Lynch knows a thing about that. Instead of the 49ers, that's Jimmy
Garoppolo.
And Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, the lore is deep with our franchise, and I can't stand it. And one team that we are about to face this Sunday also has a Super Bowl under their belt, but they've got some problems right now. 49ers versus Rams this weekend. We are playing at SoFi Stadium, which will likely once again be taken over head to toe in red by 49ers fans who clearly have a strong presence in the Los Angeles area. Not on top of dealing with injuries with Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, they've also got Higbee on PUP. They've got 3 offensive tackles on IR. They've got a guard on 2 guards on IR, guard centers, Steve Avila, and then they have a defense, 2 cornerbacks, defensive lineman, safety. They got problems right now with their injuries. When you look at this matchup, is this the bounce back game we're looking for? Is there opportunity for disaster for us? Where are you sitting when it comes to this matchup?
This should be a win. My expectations are they go in there and win. This team is, like you said, it's basically what's a hospital in LA? UCLA Hospital? Cedars-Sinai Hospital is the LA Rams right now. They're just beat the hell up, man. Like, we're going against backups, third stringers. They gave up the second most amount of points in the NFL through 2 weeks. They're bad. They're bad is my deep analysis. And Jordan Mason should get 100+ yards running on these guys
easily.
I expect Brock Purdy. Like, if you look at Brock Purdy's numbers, 1 touchdown over 2 games, that's not like Brock Purdy. And he's going against a bad defense. I don't care. Debo's not there. I don't care. CMC's there. Brock Purdy will have easily two or more touchdowns. I mean, just look at the numbers. He has to bounce back at some point. He's not going to stay with 1 or 2 touchdowns through 3 weeks. He's going to give at least 1 or 2. Brock's going to bounce back. Jordan Mason's going to run over 100 yards. Our defense is going to wreck their offensive line, 4 sacks minimum. Bookmark what I'm saying to you guys. It's going to happen. So here's that. And that's the thing, though. It's not the retribution. I mean, it'll feel good on the surface. But that's what I meant earlier in the show when I said it's really not like everyone's like, oh, this is a big opportunity. It's going to reveal a lot about Brock Purdy this week. And I don't buy it. Wait until they play a good team with a good defense before we say that. Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's only so that I don't kick myself for being too confident. I will say it's always want to be careful. Sean McVay probably spends every waking moment of his life trying to think about how to defeat Kyle Shanahan. But I think even in the absence of Christian McCaffrey, even in the absence of Deebo Samuel, this game should be a win. I think this very well could be an electric George Kittle game. I think this could be the Brandon Ayuk momentum game. This could also be a Jawan Jennings touchdown here, great pickup there type of game. I think this offense, and certainly Jordan Mason should have no issue handling business the way he has been, continues to be the number one rusher for missed tackles. So I would only imagine that trend would continue. And then on defense, I mean, Matthew Stafford is in trouble without weapons. I mean, his passer rating just with Cooper Kupp off the field drops 23.6 points. And then you've got no other weapons for him, really. I mean, you've got Kyron Williams or whatever, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold the offense up by himself. I just don't think it's going to happen. And so, especially with Hufanga back, I think that it will be a good game for everyone to kind of get back in sync, hopefully, and build on some momentum. And obviously, even if it's a resounding victory, even if it's a minor victory, we just need a victory under our belt. I would really like to see Ayuk use this game to really get back into the groove in a way that I think he wants. He may have, he may not have had any glaring issues in the last game, but he wants to get in the end zone. He wants to break for a big play and remind everyone that's why I wanted this fucking money, is because I'm Brandon Ayuk and this is what that looks like. We haven't seen that play yet, and we want to. And I have a feeling that if he wanted it, and if Brock Purdy is looking, that he can utilize this game to seize on that opportunity.
Let me ask you a question. I believe, if I'm not incorrect, you are sponsored by Underdog, correct? Is that wrong?
I'm not, dude. I just I use their platform. I have a code that I do get some points on, but I'm a free agent. I'm a free agent. So if you know some guys who know a guy, come talk to me.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Here's why I'm asking. Because Jacob Cowan is gonna. This is my prediction. I went with the Matt Stafford interception. You pick 2 picks. Matt Stafford interception, because that's coming. Hufanga's back. He's bringing the vibes. And this is my risky play, but you get, 31 times the amount you bet. Jacob Cowan with the touchdown, because I feel like Jacob Cowan jet sweep is coming this week. Look for it.
Oh, I like that. I got Jacob Cowan in my Dynasty League. And I've been sitting on him. I'm like, I know there's a dog in there somewhere. One of these days, he's going to be a dog of the day. I feel it. But that's not bad advice. And if you want to go an underdog, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam.
There you go.
I'm back.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like what I do with my money is when I bet on underdog, like I'll bet like a few smart ones, and then I'll bet a crazy one that's put $10 in but wins 700 or whatever it is. And that's, if you do that Cowan touchdown one, you never know.
That's right. Even just $5 can win you over 1,000 if you use code bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Your first deposit matched in bonus cash up to $1,000. That's right. bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. It's not my fault that you're setting me up for this. So if you're gonna bring up some sports betting, I'm gonna cut to my thing.
There you go.
Ryan Reed says, like the motherfucking stream.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please do that. Leon Sandcastle back in the building. He says Rams D is vanilla. No exotic, simulated pressure. Hope.
Hello, sir. Are you gone or am I gone? Is Sourdeath gone or am I gone? Let me know in the chat. Is it just me on the public access channel by myself, or is Sam talking by himself? If you hear me, there you go.
Yeah,
Is
sorry.
that you?
Yeah, you know, my feed just cut out. Like I
Okay.
got evacuated from my own building. It was scary, but I'm back.
I sat there quietly.
I know. I was hoping, you know, if that ever happens again, you have legal license to actually take over the show. Like all
Okay.
rights, all
I was-
rights, all merchandise. That's all you.
I was this close.
Yeah, well, you have my blessing, dude. You were one of the founding fathers. Jam 18 says Sam is gone. Not anymore, brother. I am back.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate everyone for waiting there. But yes, I do believe it's going to be a victory. I'm really excited to see Hufanga back. I really I want to see how he's doing. I want to see if he can sort of return to Hufanga of old. I feel like his last games before he got injured, I think there was a little left to be desired. So hopefully he's had enough time to sort of mentally get himself in the groove so that, you know, by the time he's out there on the field, it feels second nature, perhaps like it used to. And hopefully the one thing about Hufanga that I do appreciate about him tremendously is I think his instincts can often get us turnovers that may not have previously been available. And I would love to see that element back in our defense because we sort of forgot what a Hufanga at safety defense looks like. It's been a while. It's been since November of last year. I think November 19th or 20th. So a little bit of a refresher course is on the docket for Sunday. I'm very excited to see what he's up to.
If Huff is 100%, that's a definite major upgrade at safety, and I'm thrilled to see it. I love Hufanga, man. He's awesome. A great person.
Yep.
One of my favorite players on the 49ers. I got a special place in my heart for Polynesians. My wife's half Samoan. Just really great people, and I think Huff is another example of just a really good person, and just an absolute maniac on the football field.
Totally. He brings an element to this team that I love, that I appreciate. And JD Durham asks, is he up to speed? We will find out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On Sunday. Anything you'd like to add before we hop into affirmations and wrap up for the evening about the 49ers versus Rams matchup?
Nothing about the matchup, but make sure if you're watching this, you like it and you subscribe to Sam. He should have way more subscribers than he does. He does a tremendous job, great production, hilarious, dry sense of humor, which is right up my alley. So I'm a big fan. You guys should all be subscribed and like this video.
That's right. If you're watching this show right now, please go ahead and subscribe. YouTube.com/@Sourdeath Sam. You're probably already there. Go ahead and give me a like and a subscribe. Leave a comment. Be nice to me. If you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Amazon Podcasts, do me a favor. Click the follow button, the subscribe button, whatever it's called. Leave a review there too. Just, help a brother out. We'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let's get to the comments real quick before we wrap up with affirmations. We got JD Durham. Yeah, he's one of a kind. Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Fazil Rashad says Polynesian 100, 100, 100, 100. Yes, sir.
That's
Big
300.
love to the
Yes,
Polynesian
sir.
community. Yeah, that's 300 if you add it all up together.
Yeah.
Expected more from the DBs after Brandon Staley's coaching. I don't think the season's over yet, but that is a good point. I think here's the good news. I think they're going to button this up. Maybe I'm being presumptuous. Early in the season, I think they put their heads together. I think they figure this out. And Clean Industry says, yes, sir. He also says, I have to highlight this comment because Lord knows I agree. that I'm still waiting on that Chipotle sponsorship. They just dropped the brisket. By far the best meat Chipotle ever has to offer. I will fucking drive my car off a cliff if at the bottom of it there's a Chipotle with brisket. 100%.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
love the meat.
sir.
Yeah, man, it's just a brisket though. Like
We got good meat.
normal Chipotle is like cool. Yeah. Healthy-ish. I can feel not guilty. Like it doesn't feel over processed. Cool.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
My son had a job at Chipotle for a year, and I got discounts, so we would go there quite often. I agree with you.
Hey, did you have the brisket?
I don't know, man. My wife would go. I'm pretty sure, but it was good, delicious, whatever it was.
Just try the brisket. I know that it's for a limited time only. That's right. I'm auditioning right now. If you want I'm failing my audition. If you want a Mexican food experience that is second to none and faster than you could ever believe, ladies and gentlemen, Chipotle is the restaurant for you. That's right. On top of having your favorites, asada, chicken, even sofrito, we have a limited time opportunity to purchase a bowl or burrito or whatever you want with, that's right, brisket. One of a kind opportunity to put brisket in your bowl, in your burrito, in your mouth, whenever you want, Daddy. Chipotle.com. Order yours today. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to send that audition tape to my agent. I'm going to see what they can get done.
That was pretty good.
Cool. Well, now it's time for the most important part of my day. It is affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
And you know all about this. Let me go ahead and get my music going. Affirmations, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, is your opportunity to cleanse your palate, to shake off the dust from your chakra and get in line with positivity. And today we are going to say nice things, encouraging words to several folks who are on our mind. We are going to let our guest here, Ryan G. Hensley, lead the charge. Who would you like to give your first affirmation to?
I think I gotta go with Brock, man. So that part in the back kills me every time. I gotta go with Brock, man. I gotta go with Brock because, look, Brock, I called you Dink and Dunk, and it was like the talk of the off season last year. And I know you have a lot of pressure on you whenever that shit hits. I can't hold it together. I know you're under a lot of pressure, and you want to earn the bag. And you want to show that you are that guy. And so you're passing up some dinking opportunities.
Get it together.
All right. That shit kills me.
Get it together.
Brock, it's okay to dink and dunk sometimes, dog. It really is. It's okay. Take the dump off. Just believe in Jordan Mason. Believe in the dump off. You don't have to make the big play. All you got to do is what you did last year, and you're going to earn that contract and be a very wealthy man. And I believe in you.
Hell yeah, dude. That was a good one. Very good one. Very good one. My first affirmation goes to Talanoa Hufanga. You will be hitting the field for the first time in a very long time. And I recognize that you are such a force of nature when you're out on that field, both in the way you communicate and the way you play. I'm excited for you to get your feet underneath you. I recognize that there may be some mistakes you make going out there for the first time in a long time, but I believe in you, and I think that you can accomplish great things this season, and I think you can be a difference maker and potentially a Super Bowl champion.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to try to get through this.
I believe in you.
I'm going to let it I'm going to let it go. There we go. Kyle Shanahan. I know a lot of people are talking bad about you. My friend Grant, I know he's rubbed you the wrong way. I've said bad things about you. When you came in, you were the genius, and now that genius is being called into question because you struggle with 5 coordinators. You're 1-9 against them over the last 5 years, but you can't let that bother you. You have to bounce back. You can beat Spagnola. You can beat the Chiefs. You can win the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what Grant says. You can do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. My second affirmation is to Brandon Ayuk. Nothing's wrong, but I just know you're itching to get that moment where you can just, where you feel like you want to just rip your helmet off and just shout like you're just a Trojan warrior who's just like destroyed their enemy, right? You want that moment where you feel that top dog energy and it's coming. Very well could come on Sunday. I would not be surprised. I banged on the drum as someone who wanted to keep you on the team at 30 million. I don't regret that. I budgeted with that 30 million for a couple of games where it didn't look like 30 million. It just happens. It happens like that. When you're going to miss camp, that happens. And as much as I joke about it sometimes on our little internet, Twitter, I know that that's leverage, right? You're holding in because you know you want to demonstrate your value. And look, training camp reports said, we're going to miss Brandon Ayuk. And now it's time. And you all know your talent. We have seen the video of your colleagues articulating as such. And we are going to begin to need to see that unfold from you. And I believe you can do it because you are exceptional at what you do. You're a great blocker and you understand your role in the team. And on Sunday, your role in the team is going to be big. And I'm excited to see you do big things because you're going to be one of the big dogs of the day at some point this season. I believe it.
Okay. Another one?
Right. Yeah, we're going to do one more
one?
each and then
more.
call it a day.
All right. I'm going to do it for Debo Samuel.
Nice.
I see, buddy, your calf is hurt, and I know that's got to be frustrating. And you just started a new podcast. Not the greatest reviews so far, but I will tell you, when I started my podcast, I was pretty awful, and I'm still just kind of awful now. But what I believe is if you continue down this path, Debo, you can develop the acumen to be a great podcaster. You may never be Ocho Cinco, but you could be Debo. And that's good enough. You're good enough. You're smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like you, Debo.
Hell yeah. I didn't expect the podcaster support angle, but I like that. I think this is not limited to football. And it's what a perfect segue to my last one. It's been perfect segues all day. You're like smooth as butter melting on a warm skillet, baby. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In the spirit of this not having to be about football and the music queuing out right at the perfect time, I would like to wish a congratulations and a happy career send-off to Adrian Wojnarowski. Obviously, our Woj bombs will be missed. Obviously, Shams kind of took on that arena at a sort of nice gradual fade out of yours, but let's be clear, it was a part of our vernacular for years. And to see so many historic moments in NBA history take place at your fingertips, the universe is crazy and Twitter is exponentially crazier. But the fact that you were able to sort of bring the world together and at the edge of our seat to hear what you had to break for all of our teams, one of a kind. We will always remember our Woj bombs. Adrian, I hope you have an amazing sort of rest of your career, not having to spend every second looking at your phone. And I'm sure your friends and your family will appreciate you not having to stare down at your Apple Watch every 15 seconds. So to Adrian Wojnarowski, hopefully I said your name right. Thank you for everything. Hope you enjoy your new role as GM of whatever the fuck that team is that you're working on. Anything else to add before I sign you off and sign off the audience here?
No, sir.
All right, let me just make sure no one's saying nice things that I'm leaving off your plate here. Hensley is fighting not to laugh.
Yeah,
yes,
dude.
but he did a good job. He held it together at the end.
Oh, like when you're a kid,
sir.
you just can't stop laughing when you're with your friends. Like no matter how hard. That's how I felt whenever I heard you. Who did the voice? Was that you?
Yeah,
Sourdeath Sam. Like that kills me. I got to do better.
I appreciate it. Well, hey, it's all in good fun. It's all meant to make people laugh. I didn't mean to throw you off your game, but you held it together pretty well at the end there. Debo's first podcast is more like Ocho Stinko.
I thought it was good. It was good. That joke.
It's a joke that I would have made, but the fact that I didn't make it and then I had to look at it, my reaction was different. But Emiliano, I love you, man. Don't think anything different. And then Jedi, perfect way to end it. God, another perfect transition. Jedi, I hit the like. Peace.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
That's all I ask, man. I don't get paid for this. Honestly, I don't even really get too butthurt about statistics or any of that, but it just means more of you get to show up for these conversations. Honestly, that's 100% what it's all about for me. I do this for the love of the game, pretty much. I do this for the love of the conversation and my buddy and the chicks, dude. I need a scuba suit, dude. I'm just drowning in it.
Right.
I really appreciate you, Ryan. You were one of the first guests. I think you were the first guest with Grant that I ever had on this show. And you always have a welcome home here. I really appreciate you hopping on. And I'm going to go ahead and sign everyone off, but wanted to just give you your props before I let you go here.
Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. All right. Ryan Hensley, everybody. You guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone. And I appreciate Jedi for hitting that sub. You know I do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Couple last housekeeping items. First, I'm just gonna brag. This Saturday, I'm gonna see. Oh, I got so many great things. Friday, I'm getting a haircut. Then I'm getting the new iPhone. Then on Saturday, I'm gonna go see Anderson .Paak play Malibu, the album in its entirety, at Shoreline Amphitheater.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's gonna be fucking sick. And lastly, my buddy Evan Sword, you've seen him on Twitter. He just dropped this shirt. I just saw him in LA and he hooked it up. I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm not sponsored. No, nothing. City Faithful, really the party's in the back, which is the perfect way to end the show, which is, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how this game goes, I'm ready to be heard again. Ready to be heard again.
Yes,
Betty,
sir. Yes,
to be heard again.
Sir.
All right. Thank you all for watching. If you want this shirt, Evan Swords, I'll tag him. You'll figure it out. Just find me on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all. As I said earlier, this means a lot to be able to do this with you guys. And there's no echo on this one, so this will make it onto Spotify. This will make it onto Apple Podcasts. So if you made it here for this one, you didn't get the last episode, but we're back, baby. No echoes here. We are on. It is going down. Ladies and gentlemen, beat the Rams. I'll see you next Wednesday. Let's get this shit.